Imagine buying your kid a toy only to find the batteries aren't included, or buying furniture but it's missing the tools to build it. Frustrating, right? Now imagine that exact same feeling, but you're paying way more. That is what buying business software usually feels like: fragmented, disconnected, and incredibly expensive. Odoo completely changes that. Odoo is a complete, fully integrated business suite where all your apps actually talk to each other. We're talking automated lead routing for your sales team, seamless AI integration, and an intuitive point-and-click website builder. It's everything your business needs to scale, saving you time, headaches, and money. Stop piecing your software together. Go to odoo.com. That's ODOO.com to learn more.
Why clarity disappears under pressure? Have you ever made a decision under pressure that felt completely reasonable at the time and then looked back and thought, what was I thinking? Maybe someone demanded an immediate answer. Maybe you were afraid of losing an opportunity. Or maybe the moment mattered so much you couldn't hear yourself clearly anymore. Pressure doesn't always reveal the right decision. Sometimes it just reveals which part of you is shouting the loudest. Welcome to Unbox the Podcast. I'm Sahar Palmer, and this is episode 34 of season 2026. Why clarity disappears under pressure. This year's theme for the new listeners, the newcomers, is have the courage to be you, show up, stay true. Today, I want to explore what happens to your judgment under pressure, why urgency gets mistaken for clarity, and how to connect with yourself before you make a decision that affects the rest of your life, your work, or the people around you. What happens is pressure narrows your view. When you're calm, you can usually see more than one possibility. You gather information, you notice how you weigh the consequences and let intuition into the conversation. Under pressure, all of that disappears fast. The view becomes very narrow. Your attention looks at the threat, looks at the deadline, the person who's demanding an answer or a decision, or the outcome that you might be afraid of losing. And your mind tries to end the discomfort very quickly. And this is when immediate decisions start to feel as though they're clear. Like, clearly, I had to make that decision. But they're not the same thing. An immediate decision ends the tension. A clear decision reflects what you actually know, what you actually want, and what you are prepared to act on. I'm not telling you to delay every choice until it feels peaceful and right. Real life doesn't always give us that luxury. What matters is noticing your internal state. Are you responding to what is actually happening? Or are you trying to escape under that pressure? That one distinction can change everything. What pressure does to our 4 dimensions. I often explain change and alignment and flow through the 4 dimensions of change, our essential makeup. BEMA, body, emotions, mind, accountability to action. When they're communicating to each other, you get the full picture. When parts of you are operational and the others are blocked for whatever reason or not functioning on par, all of you doesn't speak to all of you. So your body usually responds first through shallow breathing or tightness or a knotted stomach or butterflies in the stomach, however you want to call it. You're feeling restless, heavy, suddenly exhausted. It's telling you that something needs attention. It's not telling you rush to decide. That's how you jump to translate it, but it's telling you something isn't quite right. Then there's emotions. They kick in. You either feel frightened, angry, rejected, excited, desperate not to miss out. The emotion is real, but the conclusion you might draw from it might not be. Then there's your mind. It starts explaining the reaction. I have to decide now. My boss wants an answer now. This is my only chance. If I say no, I'll regret it. If I don't act immediately, everything falls apart. Once that story kicks in, your response becomes reactive. You agree too fast, you withdraw, you hit send, you accept an offer, you don't act on an opportunity in the right way, you make a promise you don't have time or energy or desire to keep. This is how clarity disappears. Not because you've suddenly lost the ability to make a clear decision, but because the four dimensions were not communicating to each other. What you're picking up, the emotional response or reaction that you've had, doesn't translate or hooks up to an old belief system and therefore does not translate into the right action. A decision can look right and still feel wrong. Here's an example. Someone was offered a new role, better title, more money, more visibility. On paper, it is obvious what the next step is. The employer wants an answer fast, and everyone around them says they'd be foolish not to take that opportunity. But every time they picture themselves accepting it, their body tightens. They're not excited to work there daily. They're excited by the recognition attached to it. Their emotions still feel split, proud on one half and trapped on the other half. And their mind keeps repeating, people like me don't turn down opportunities like this. If they act on pressure alone, they will take just that role just to the end. If they act on pressure alone, they take the whole responsibility, the uncertainty, and they meet somebody else's expectation rather than they want to do what they feel deep down. But if they pause and check it with all their four dimensions, a different picture might emerge. Maybe the role pulls them further from where they want to go. Maybe the timing is wrong. Maybe it is something they need to negotiate. Or maybe it is something they wanted or thought they wanted, but they are no longer seeking.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
It's very important to be in touch with the now and not to run on an autopilot how you were, because you're not necessarily the same person now at this crossroad. Sometimes the decision you make is changed according to the conditions that you're under. If you allow fear to creep in, you're unlikely to make the right decision. If you listen in and calmly to the four aspects of yourself, your intuition might say, yeah, I know it's a good offer, but it's not really what I want right now. Fear creates urgency. The right thing often doesn't miss you, to be honest with you. It's almost like the saying, what is yours, you can't miss what is rightfully yours. And I truly believe that. It's only when we have a belief system that is not ours, we hook up into somebody else's software, societal, whatever, unconscious, and then we think like this is how we should act, this is how we should decide, or this is the decision we should reach. But actually, we're moving away from where we want to go. In that sense, we are moving out of alignment. And this is why we need both. We need the logic and we need the intuition. You need to act, but you also need to take time out and listen so that you can tell yourself, have this inner conversation and tell yourself, is my body resisting? Why? Am I reacting to this? Okay, why? What belief is attached to it? And then you have a look at the whole picture. And then whatever comes out of you is more likely to be in alignment with who you are now, with where you want to go. By the way, not all pressures belong to you. Sometimes by osmosis, we absorb it unconsciously. Someone might need you to answer because there's a deadline. So their anxiety translates over to you. Their urgency might be completely genuine, but it automatically becomes yours. So be aware of that. Notice when that happens. It reminded me when I was in London, I was looking to buy a flat. I got gazumped 6 times because everybody was pushing me. And then every time I will talk to the solicitor, we'll start the proceedings, and then it falls through. And I'm reminded of it now because I'm looking to move flats. And this is what's happening, although I've got 6 weeks, I think, before I do. Everyone is trying to push me in. This is an amazing flat. I need an answer now. You need to come and see it now. Or what? And I thought, no, I dropped it all. And I said, no. First of all, it's too soon to move. Second, I haven't decided where or what is important to me, what kind of flat, what area, etc. And I dropped it for this week, but I will pick it up next week. But I realized that I was being pushed into somebody else's template is not the word that I'm looking for, but in somebody else's frame of mind or frame of work. That kind of rushing things and under a deadline, yeah, I'm sure it's, the state agent's urgent deadline, but it's not mine. And it's only in that stillness when I realized my body is uncomfortable, my mind is racing, that I thought, hold on, what is happening here? So pay attention to the subtleties that you are picking up on. They mean something. No information you pick up on, your body picks up on, is useless, but you need to allow it to work together so that you can develop a fuller picture. What I suggest you do is you name the emotion. Are you afraid? Are you anxious? Or do you feel like this is not right? Try and name the emotion. Is it anger, embarrassment, worry? About something that you're going to leave behind, or be left out from. And I also suggest that you notice the story that goes on in your mind. Are you repeating an old story? Why is this overthinking happening? It could be that you are actually avoiding making a decision because you're uncomfortable to go in a new territory or to take a pause, to step back and to see the whole picture. We are multidimensional human beings. There's a lot going on within us. But if you're not in touch with what's going inside you, with what's going on inside you, why should anyone else be? So the way to take self-leadership is to become aware of what's happening on the inside so that you take full accountability and responsibility for what is happening on the outside. Somebody asked me something about failure the other day, and I thought I would never name any experience I had as failure, although it may have failed in somebody else's eyes. But to me, it was a really necessary learning step, or a necessary relationship, or a necessary, book to write or poem to write. Whatever it is really never wasted, because sometimes we need to discover something in a gradual way so that we're able to take on the wisdom of whatever experience we're going through. And this is why decisions are important, because if you keep building the wrong decision at every step because you're on automatic pilot, or you're not paying attention to what your body is picking up on, it's only natural that you end up running into the wall, having a crisis, feeling blocked, getting depressed, because there is nothing that you're enjoying anymore. But when you take ownership of what you are going through, when you take time to reflect and explore how your body feels, what emotions are running out of you or through you, what beliefs that you're basing your decisions on, then something inside you begins to relax and begins to align. And somehow naturally you align your priorities and you become naturally clear about what is important, where you're going, and whether this decision is going to get you closer to your goal, to where you want to go, or further away from what is important to you. So here's what to remember. Pressure narrows your view. It can make relief feel like clarity, like, I've decided, but actually it's not truthful. It may not be truthful. Your body is telling you something, your emotions are important, but they are not instructions. Honor your feelings, but they're not necessarily instruction. It's important that you allow yourself the chance to understand, why are you feeling that way? As I always say, or more often than not, have a conversation with yourself. Others don't have your inner workings. Others don't have your inner experiences. Others cannot tell you what to decide. So that might even put more pressure on you, but now you know what to do. You explore your 4 dimensions. You allow them to communicate with each other. You observe, and then you make your decision. And it's in that pose that the clarity emerges because you took the pressure away. You may ask, what am I trying to escape? But it would also help if you ask, what do I know? What is missing? What would make me comfortable making that decision? And if you answer these questions or any similar questions, then you might arrive closer as to why you hesitate or why you feel anxious or why you feel intrepid about the decision that you should be making. What matters will come to you if you operate in that way. And this brings me to something that I'm going to talk about in my newsletter, which is September is the new January. It really feels like it, not just because of the school year, but because the summer ends and everything goes back to a different operation mode or mode of operation. And it really makes sense to say September is the new January. You don't have to wait for January to reset, to restart, to make something work, or even to realign. You don't have to wait till January to make something work differently for you. September gives you a natural moment to pause, to reset, to shift gears, and to prepare for the months ahead so that this year can end up making you a lot closer to where you want to go. Throughout September, I will be sharing practical guidance through my guided e-course, Unbox A Brighter Future. Look out for the newsletter, more details to come, and I hope it will allow you to reconnect with your future, to reconnect with yourself, and to get used to having these internal conversations so that you can begin to lead yourself, your life. If this episode has helped you, please remember to like, share, subscribe, hit the whatever button you need to hit so that you don't miss the next episode. I know many of you listen. I look at the statistics and I'm grateful and thank you. But it really does count when you hit those buttons and you follow and subscribe. It allows more people to find this episode. So if you think it's going to be useful to someone, please share it with them. If you have a page or an account, share it there. I'll be really grateful. I'm Sahar Huneedi Palmer. Thank you for listening to Unbox the Podcast, episode 34. Until next Tuesday, I'll see you soon.